Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me. We are starting our live discussion session for today, and I'm just trying to pin the comment. I hope it has been, yes, right. So, happy Sunday morning, happy July. I am Antra, and thank you so much for joining in today to yet another live discussion session where we invite authors and people from the literary field. Before I go into introducing or talking about today's guest, I would like to take a moment and discuss our this month's lineup. Um, I'm really glad how this month's lineup for Sunday live session is looking like. It's a whole bouquet of genres that we will be presenting to you this month. Uh, the guests that we have invited, they write on different genres, starting from sports fiction that we are going to talk about today, to medical science, children's book, and then we are going to wrap up the month with hardcore, straightforward, motivational writer. So I really hope that you support us, that like the way you have been supporting us, because we put a lot of effort in curating these sessions, and I'm really glad that you have been watching us and you have been watching the sessions regularly, so thank you so much. Now it's time to invite or talk about the guest. I really hope that he is around. Let me check. Uh, so, yes, so there is someone who is saying that you are doing a great job. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the fact that you guys are enjoying our sessions. So do share your feedback, how we can better the sessions. So yes, so today our guest is T. Satish. He has not yet joined the show live session so that I can patch him up. But then maybe I can talk a bit about his book that he has written. So T. Satish has written a book called Life in the Sunshine, and it's a very unique and unconventional genre that he has selected. It's sports fiction. So, what drew me towards this book is that I have read a lot of sports, um, maybe as an in the form of autobiography or biography, or I might have watched uh, movies based on this genre, but I never read a fiction where sports has been given so much of importance, especially um, the incident, 1986 incident. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. So the Sharjah Cup incident, which I'm going to talk more of with Satish. And then there are so many things that I want to talk about. So let me just see if he's around. So yes, so I think I'll, without wasting much time, I'll request Satish to join us so that we can begin with our discussion. I have been waiting for him a few moments now, and yes, so I'm going to send out the request to Satish to join us. Hear me properly, if you can hear us clearly, if you can watch us. So yes, so we are in discussion. Hey,
Hi, hi, Antrag. Can you hear me?
am I audible?
Yeah. What about me?
Yes, you are. So good to see you.
Yeah. Same here. How are you?
I'm fine. So finally we get to talk, we get to see each other. Like we are in
Yeah.
touch almost for a year now.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you accepted the invite and you have agreed to join us today.
No,
And
the pleasure is mine. Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
thank you, thank you. And I already talked. a bit about your book Life in the Sunshine, and that how I was drawn to it, that I have read a lot of sports, maybe in the form of autobiography, or maybe I have watched documentaries or movies, but I have hardly read much about sports in fiction. And
Yeah.
um, it's not just any sport. It's cricket, which is like India's favorite. So, and then there is this incident, which is like very iconic incident that you have tried to put the story revolve around that incident. So, my first question is that how do you see this genre, this sport fiction, um, the scene of this genre in India right now?
Yeah, I think in the last few years, even not just books, right? If you look at the movies as well, right? Ever since, even though Lagan was sort of a long time back it came,
Right.
but after that
Right,
there was a gap, right? So there weren't too many fiction, right?
Right.
Because Lagan cricket was a clear sports fiction, right? It was not a real incident. It was built
Right.
around. But after that, most of it that has come in have been some autobiographies which have been converted into movies. And then we had movies like Chuck Day, which are essentially sports fiction again, right?
Right.
So they've all done very well in the market as well. So I think that's pretty much has introduced people to a new genre where it can be sports fiction as well, right? Not necessarily. Usually, otherwise, if it is a sports event, it's always about reality, something that happened is being recreated. Even the new movie Ranveer Singh of 1983, which is again recreating an actual event. But sports fiction is something that has done very well and has not been explored well. Is what I also think, because the real stories are real stories, right? Because it has happened to the athletes. But then, what about our lives, right? We are people who are outside of the athletic area, but our lives are deeply impacted by all of this that is going on, right? When you are young, if you had a bad match yesterday on TV, your next day is impacted, right? So it's very much a part of your life. So a lot of our lives have been constructed around that. I think there are more stories that need to be told around real sports, but fictional in the other people who are characters who are part of that story. That's a good thing that I think the genre has just started off. There's a lot to explore.
Okay. So your story, it's published. It's almost a year, a bit more than a year now. Yeah. And the story revolves around three friends who are into sports, and there are ups and downs. But what I really want to talk about is the iconic moment. I think I'm not sure if any of our viewers might be aware of it.
Yeah.
But I was very young. But when I'm not into much sports, but then when I was reading your book, I came into it, and then when I started talking about it with my uncles or with my parents, so it seemed like it was a very heartbreaking moment, the Sharjah Cup incident.
Yeah.
So first of all, I really want to know what made you consider this incident to play a very pivotal role in your story. Second of all, has this incident played any importance in your real life?
Yeah. So, see, I had just started watching cricket on TV because even in the early, in the mid 1980s, having a TV at home was still a luxury, right? So we had bought our TV at home just a few months before the Sharjah Cup even came in. Right? It was a black and white TV. And we had just one channel, Doordarshan, to watch whatever. And in those days, if it was televised cricket, most of it used to be India-Pakistan or India-West Indies. Very rarely any tours that happened outside were telecast. So there was only limited amount of cricket that we watched. So India-Pakistan rivalry was big, right? It's always been big, and those days we used to play a lot. Those days we used to play a lot. So the rivalry was very, very alive, right? We used to meet them quite regularly, and we lose, they lose, kind of a thing. but that was a period when India had a lot of success, right? We had won the World Cup, and then we had won 1985 Champions Trophy, Champions of Champions. So we were in a good position. We were winning a lot against Pakistan, and this was a really pivotal incident. And the way we lost it, right? It was a match which looked like we will win, and it was only a question of time before we won, sort of a thing. But then it kept stretching, and at the end we lost it, right? So that had a deep impact, and the way it was a 6 at the end, not even like 1 run off the last ball or something like that. It was a miraculous win. So it had a deep impact, and the Indian psyche also, right? After Saurav, people have become hard and tough. But those days, we were an underconfident bunch of players, right? So we went into our hearts a lot, and
Right.
and then I think that had an impact in the future Pakistan matches with India, and they gained the superiority. And Pakistan those days, I think as a country and also as a cricket playing nation, they're a lot more confident than us Indians. We were still finding our feet. We were still going through economic hardships, and our sports was just coming out, right? And our nature, right? Imran Khan was a very strong leader, so he caught on to that. Yeah, he and Jawad Mian caught on to that break, and we lost a lot after that, right? It really was as young boys growing up 7-8 years old, and we had to put up with this Pakistan team for another 10 years. That pretty much sucked our teenage life. Yeah.
Right. And I think now, if, as you mentioned, that yes, during 80s, the entire scene, the sports, especially cricket scene, was completely different. And now when I see current, the scenario is like totally commercial. It's like all over. It's very messy for me to understand. Like there is not that entitlement. Like I cannot. Like earlier when the countries used to play, so I would be able to have a sense of entitlement that yes, this is my country and I need to support them. But then now I find it very commercial. Though I'm not a very big follower, but yes, now I see that it's very commercial and I have completely lost interest. So I think I'm not sure how our viewers are if they are into cricket or they are into sports, how they think about it. I'm not sure about that, but I think as you mentioned that there's a lot more to come, and we just need to brace ourselves to figure out like what all are there in.
Yeah.
I also know you had also mentioned that you write a lot about sports or especially cricket, and you especially like in online portals, especially the Roar.com, which is an Australian online portal for sports, and I think it has more than 2 million visitors. So
Yeah.
I want to know like how often do you write, how often do you contribute to such online portals, and what is the objective? Like, do you look into certain aspects before writing anything for them, or it's like a regular commentary kind of thing that you prefer?
Yeah. So, see, my whole idea of writing on these portals is not to give a commentary, but my perspective of what is happening in a particular match or a series, right? So, commentary is anyway. You already have enough websites. Cricinfo.com, ClickBuzz, all of them running commentary.
Okay.
But then I want to give my take of what happened and why it happened and what is the perspective, right? How, or if there are any big events which would impact the way cricket would move, right? So in terms of an evolution, right? So before moving to the Roar.com, before that I was writing on World in Sport. Still I do
right.
Yeah. So there it was when I started. That was an opportune time when we had the World Cup going on, and then the India-Australia series before that. So my writing was my relationship with the sport, right? So when I view it, all the characters who play are all like they have some bond with me. So I want to see how the sport is getting impacted by these characters. How is the sport itself moving forward? So I write it as a story, what I get out of what
Okay.
happened in the game or in the series, right? So my view of that.
So, while growing up, you played a lot of this sport, or like you were just a watcher, observer, or you played as well?
Yeah. So I played a lot of cricket. So until I finished college, there was a lot of
Okay.
cricket was a daily happening in my life, right? So when we were in school, we used to play on the streets, and occasionally I got to play for my school as well. And then once I joined college, our hostel we were pretty much playing cricket all the time, right? So whether it was tennis ball, cricket ball, whatever, right? If there was a match and somebody wanted a player, I was up for it, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're a part of the regular team or some other hostel needs a player, I want to go, so I'll go. So I was always enthusiastic about cricket, playing it, and also I always had my views, right? So I was always an opinionated person. I had my views on everything and anything. So cricket being a large part of my life, I had an opinion always, and I was very ready to share it, right? So always into debates and all kinds of tea shop you sit in and have debates with your friends, right?
The
It goes
discussion.
endlessly, endless debates on cricket, right? Player versus
And
player.
did you ever break any window panes with the ball?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
did this happen?
Regular occurrence, right? Regular occurrence. Yeah. So a
So
few, quite a few. Yeah.
I remember when I was growing up, I grew up with like all my cousins were boys, and I was the only girl, and I was the youngest. And I remember that I was not part of the team, but whenever the ball would land up at someone's home, someone's yard, they used to make me go and fetch that because I
Yeah.
was very young and no one would say anything to me. I remember that. And my cricket is only confined to that, fetching ball
Yeah.
from yards and people's balcony.
Yeah. We
So
didn't have
that
that.
was
We
really
didn't
fun.
have that benefit. We didn't have that benefit. We had to go into those difficult uncles' homes to ask for a ball back, and then some of them would politely refuse, and some of them we had to really beg and take it. But by mistake, if you break somebody's window pane, you are dead, right? So your mom had to go and buy and get it, and we had to
Another
fix.
one.
Yeah. So
I
we were in
know
trouble.
the entire life would
Yeah.
like revolve around that. I
Yeah.
can totally understand, and like there might have been instances where those uncles might have ended up complaining to your parents that, oh God, your kid is doing this. Your
Hey,
kid might have
Antara, can you hear
disrespect.
me? I'm not able to hear you. Are you
I
able to hear
can
me?
hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
No, I'm not able to hear you.
Hello,
Hello?
hello. Yes, I can hear you. Are you able to hear me? Hello.
Can you hear me? I'm not able to hear you.
You want to check your maybe I can invite you again.
Can we rejoin maybe? Start it again?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of glitch that keeps on happening. I'm going to repatch with Satish and see if it works out fine this time.
Right. Hey, Antara, can you hear me? Yeah, yes. Can you hear me?
All right, great.
Yeah.
So I think the network is taking a toll on it,
Yeah.
and maybe we can quickly move on to our next question. And my next question to you is, do you intend to write on this genre? Is there any project in the pipeline that you want to talk about? what can we expect from this?
Yeah. So I like multiple genre, right? So sports fiction is something I will definitely continue to write. I do have a couple of small ideas to take Life in the Sunshine Part 2 and 3, right? So I would definitely, yeah. Sandra, do you want to put your earphone back? We'll hear you better maybe now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
Yes,
it's better.
I'm
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. So so definitely I'll continue to write in the sports fiction. That's one part. But the current project which I just finished, not just a few months back before all the COVID situation came up, was on a completely different topic, right? So it's about a blind trader, how his life before and after,
Okay.
and how the comeback. So the manuscript
Okay.
is ready, and it's already circulating. Right, I hope to find a publisher sometime after all these COVID disruptions are over, because now nobody's proceeding. So I think by September, October we'll restart,
Right,
and then
right. Yes, yes.
yeah, maybe by the end of this year I'll get a
Yes.
publisher. Yeah, so I managed to land a agent after some time. So thanks to the readers,
Okay.
some amount of
Yes, yes.
I managed to get a literary agent to stand for me. So I'm hoping that will get published soon.
And finding a publisher, good publisher, is similar to finding a match for marriage. This is what I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's like it doesn't happen, like it's like a soulmate kind of a situation. And I really wish you all the best.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
So your first book, Life in the Sunshine, was all over like social media. Whenever I remember a couple of months back, whenever I would log into social media, I would see it everywhere, and it felt like people are actually reading it, and they were liking and they were
Yeah,
appreciating it. So I really think that your next book, your upcoming book, will also be similarly loved and liked.
I
Do keep
really
us
hope so.
posted about it.
Absolutely,
Do keep
absolutely.
us
You'll first to
posted.
hear.
Uh,
You'll be the first to
thank
hear
you,
for sure. Yeah.
thank you. And I really want to mention one more thing, that I think you still follow your regime, your sports regime. I'm not sure if you are playing now, but you are also an early like early riser,
Yeah.
and I'm also an early riser.
Yeah.
And our discussions has always been mostly during the early morning.
Early morning. Yeah.
So, so I really wish you all the best. I hope
Thank you.
you take care of your health and your
Sure.
family. And it was lovely talking to you today. I'll share more details on the story of Instagram, like whatever we have discussed, even your online portal that you write to. So, thank you so much, Satish. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Antara, for having me on this on your live, and then thanks everyone who joined after to hear us have this discussion. And then, like Antara said, please take care of yourself. I know this during pandemic times, and my reading has really increased
It has?
during this time. Yeah, it has. Thanks to Kindle.
So,
So
right.
reading a lot as well, but there's a lot of work going on at office as well, sitting at home and having to do all that. But so it's a very unique experience. But I hope at the end of all of this, we'll have a good story to talk about, and everybody stays safe. And
Right.
yeah. Then please follow all the masks and all the rules that you have to follow. Please,
Exactly.
it's very important. Very
Exactly.
important. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Satish, for all your
Yeah.
kind words. And I really look forward to having another discussion with you very soon. And
Certainly.
we'll talk more about it. And yes, hopefully the situation will get better and the humankind will rise above this situation very soon. So thank
Absolutely.
you very much.
Thanks for having me. Thanks
Have,
everyone. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.
so that was Satish, and it was lovely talking to him. I hope you guys had a good experience getting to know about how sports fiction is coming along, and it's just the beginning, as he mentioned. There's a lot more to explore in this genre. We also look forward to Satish's new book, which is about to be published very soon, probably uh, first months of 2021. So thank you very much for joining in. I'll be sharing this video on our IGTV as well as on our YouTube channel. So if you want to revisit, do that. And if you want to share it with your friends, please do that. I would also like to take a moment to let you know that our online bookstore is currently not shipping because we are having a lockdown till 12th of July. But once the lockdown has been lifted, we'll be all set to ship out the orders that you are placing. So don't hesitate or don't wait to place your orders. There are discount coupons which are getting shared by influencers, and we keep sharing those discount coupons on our story. So take a moment, consider the discount coupons, visit our online bookstore, www.mysecretbookshelf.co.in, and get your book or get a bestseller at a very discounted price. Even there are many books which are signed by the authors, and which the copies which are not signed, the authors are willing to send you a personalized note. So thank you very much for watching today. I'm Antra, and have a good